Hey, welcome. So we're going to show you about doing a bit of remote pairing on Homework Zero Part 1 using Cloud9. Now I'm here with my pair partner Thomas. Say hello, Thomas.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
And we've both got into our Hangout. Now the first thing you want to do really in the Hangout after you said hello is go to the screen share button, which we've shown previously. That's the little green screen icon with an arrow that's on the left when you mouse over the Hangout. So I'm just going to go and click on that. It's going to pop up a window where it asks me which desktop I want to share. I'm going to share my desktop 1, where I've got here, this is the description for the Homework Zero Part 1. We're going to be defining a method. If we take the first part of it, there's 3 parts to that Part 1. We're going to define a method sum, which takes an array of integers as an argument and returns the sum of its elements. And for an empty array, it should return 0. So we're going to use Cloud9, and once you're signed into Cloud9, as you can see here, you need to create a new workspace. Then once that's created, that might take a few minutes. We need to sort of hit the Start Editing button. I've got one I prepared earlier here. The key thing to do here is to grab the URL of that Cloud9 instance, copy that, and paste that over into the, if you're both in a Hangout, then the group chat is the way to go. Pop that into the group chat and allow your pair partner to get to that link. So you can see here now Thomas has already looked at that. I think if Thomas, you're screen sharing there, we can just have a look. Yes, so you're looking at the same URL on your desktop in a different part of the world. And on my side, because I'm the one who created the Cloud9 instance, what's happened here is that it told me that Thomas has arrived, and then there's this icon on the extreme right of the screen, which is a members icon, and I click on that, I can see visitors Thomas, and then I'm going to click on this little down chevron here, and it says grant read and write access. So now Thomas should be able to write in this environment. I'll see if I can make the do you want to just test out typing in that environment there?
We're trying. Let's see. I'm in the editor, and yeah, here we go.
There we go. So that might be a bit confusing here because I'm sharing my view of this. We'll just look at Thomas has got, this is his view, but so he's written something in there. I can also come in and even I think we've got one cursor. I can put in a comment there, like so. So we now have a sort of a free environment in which we can both comment. I think from Thomas said we end up with slightly different terminals, but anyhow, if we just save this this file, I'm going to go to my terminal here and do ruby test.rb, and there we go. That's we've got a little ruby file running. So now, so this is we're in a Hangout. Thomas and I can hear each other. We've got the screen shares on. We can both see each other's desktops. The nice thing about Cloud9, I mean, there's other solutions for this, Mad Eye and Screen Hero and so on. Cloud9 is one of the ones we've been enjoying recently. Let's see if we, how we might get started on the Homework Zero, and swapping driver and navigator roles. Also, if you lose audio, as Thomas is pointing out, there's comments down there as well for Cloud9. So one of the things I like to do actually is if we're getting started, is go and grab the actual what it is that we need to be doing. Let's clear out from this test. I guess what we could do actually is we could create a new file here in the test environment, and we could call this Homework Zero Part 1.rb, like so. And if I double click, that should open that up. And I'm going to add what we need to do here as comments at the top of this. Let's just do it like this. So we've got a few different bits and pieces. So this is relatively straightforward from a Ruby point of view. One of the things that goes, I think, extremely well with pair programming is setting things up so that you're kind of swapping driver navigator roles, and you're also swapping testing sort of implementing roles as time goes. So if I was going to start with this, looking at this problem here, I can see, well, one, I've got a kind of a corner case, and it's got, for an empty array, it should return 0. So rather than rushing in and trying to just implement the the entire method that needs to manage this sum and so on, I would be tempted to write some sort of little test, even just a little hacky one. So let's say I might say we've got some method called sum, and I could do something like I could pass it an empty array, and I should say that should be equal to 0. And just by saving that, if I save that, I can even just kick off run here on the top there. I get this error which is here, which is undefined method sum for main object. What I'm also tempted to do, and I really recommend this to everybody, is well, we'll see. I guess we'll start with that maybe. And this is the point here. Often the point at which you get an error is a good point to switch over. So I've got an error there. Thomas, do you want to see if you can kind of address this error, this undefined method sum that we're getting?
Yeah. So we should define sum as a method to start with, but we should also be able to pass in something here, right?
Yeah, well, let's deal with one. I think we go as slow as we can in terms of this is I think as one gets more experience, yes, you can certainly do those things. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, can you also click the run? But if you save that file,
let's see.
And click the run button. I wonder if it will come up on my terminal as well.
How do we run in this?
Well, there's a green run button that you can see at the top of the middle of the screen. Yeah, actually, this works quite. Yes, I'm not sure if you did now. Did the
Let's see.
Yes. Oh, I think maybe that's run here. It's run the Ruby process. I think. Oh no, it's still saying there undefined method sum. I think the issue might be that we're calling sum before we're defining it. I'm just going to pop that at the top there and save that and try running again. Yeah, so now we get onto this second error, and that was so rather than you going ahead and solving that, I was keen to show so all of the step by step the different errors. So for example, if we haven't got the method defined, and if it's not defined before the test, then we get undefined method sum for main object. And as you were step ahead of me there, Thomas, not having specified any arguments, we get this kind of argument error here. So we sort of went through a little step there where I wrote kind of a little test of what's supposed to happen. You implemented something. I made a sort of a bit of refactoring there. I guess there you've generated this new error. So that's another point where we can swap backwards and forwards. Maybe we'll go to me and I will put something in here. So we know that this is taking some kind of an array. So I think the interesting thing is we can actually, the parentheses are optional, but let's put them in for clarity there. Now Thomas and I are here swapping backwards and forwards, very tightly. I mean, there's and that can vary how often you want to do it. Do you want to kick off that run again there now, Thomas, and let's see if we both see the same output?
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's there at the bottom of the screen.
It's running.
Yeah. Yep. And I think what this means, because we're not seeing any error in this case, it's sort of actually the run button sort of also kind of deploys this almost. So we'll see later on if we look at doing deployment with Sinatra apps and Rails apps and so on, that you can see your running app from within Cloud9. What we've got at the moment here is we've got our little def sum array. We're calling the method, but I think we're not necessarily seeing any of the output. If I go and do Ruby homework 0 part, I'll get tab completion there as well.
Yes,
I think we basically don't see anything. There's no output at the moment because what happens is that this is being evaluated to check whether it returns 0 or not. But we're not. Our test is doing a check, but then it's not doing anything with the result. For hand rolling my own little test, what I like to use, I think this is I like to add a little thing here where we say like a little raise step, and then this will raise like a custom error like so. So this is me refactoring the our test there. If I save that, I think we can. I can run that in the command line here. Okay, yeah, and it's getting so now we're getting like an error like we had for a testing suite there. So I guess, yeah, this is a good point. Now we've gotten to another sort of error. This would be a good point to just to swap. Thomas, can you see that error on your side? I wonder if we.
Let's see. I can. If I run. Yeah, I got the same thing. Important. Yes, a runtime error sum.
You can see that in your output section. Yes.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So we need to. We want to fix this, right?
Yeah. So let's yeah, go right ahead. Yeah. So now we've got a problem here that our corner case that we've gone for, empty array should return 0, is not it's not returning a 0 there.
Okay. So we will pass this in. So in Ruby we can call a method on array, right? So we go array dot, and how do we summarize?
I think it was the well, it might be dot blank. This is a great here to point out how the Ruby documentation, which is also available linked in the homework, there is a great place to go. We can go for class array here, and I wonder, was it? Do they have blank? I mean, one immediate thing that we can check is the size of the array. That is what immediately springs to mind. I forget. Oh, was it empty? Is there an empty method? We'll just check in there. Yeah, I think that there is an empty method. There we go.
So, question mark, right?
Yeah, so the question mark indicated that it will return a Boolean.
So, what we're going to do, we want to say that if array is empty, right? Then, but we don't have to have that in the block anyway. We could have it in right. Then we set some. Oh, how do we want to do this now?
Well, I think and so this is I'll just have a meta statement here for the pairing thing is so Thomas is now in the driving role, I'm the navigator role, and I'm watching what he's doing and potentially providing advice. I think we could actually use the interesting little Ruby thing where we can put the if statement on the end of the line that we're writing. We could just
do that. Yes.
We could just do return 0 if array.empty.
Return 0 like this, right?
Yeah. I think that let's say you could kick off run on that. I think if I have the output tab up there and you kick run, will I see the same output as you will see? I'll just switch to your screen there. Yeah. So I think you're. Yeah. So I think you've. Right. Yeah. We're not getting any error now there in the output thing, and so. That indicates, I think, that you've made my little micro test there pass. And so we're now doing. So if we carry on with the sort of ping pong style of programming, the idea is that you would now write some sort of test, and we're swapping roles now. So I've been the test writer, and you've been implementing the underlying code, and now you be the test writer, and I will do the code. So do you want to write? So we've kind of done this corner case. We've got that working. Do you want to now write, let's say, a test for some other aspect of the sort of the main body, as it were, of this system?
Yeah. So what we want to do now is to take all the integers in this array and sum them all up, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So
I'd say on line 10, maybe copy the. I mean, I've kind of hacked together this little testing thing. I would be tempted to copy line 9 or type it out again, and adjust that so it's doing a different kind of test. I would be tempted to write the test in after the unless statement and then copy it over into the thing once we've worked out exactly what it should be doing here.
So we want to say something where if the sum is actually bigger.
Well, I think what we want to do is we want to have. So we've done one of our first test cases for where the array is an empty array. So now we want a non-empty array. So it could just have the numbers 1 and 2 in it, or I think it just needs. Yeah, we need to have a few integers in there, and then we want to say, what. So if you're doing 1, 2, and 3, then our method should return what is it? 6 probably, if it's working according to specification. And then having got that set up, we might want to like copy the after the unless statement, yeah, and stick that, adjust our error message that we're raising, and do that. Excellent. Yes, that looks that looks about right. Yeah. Do you want to kick that off and see if we get an error message?
Yes, we got a runtime error because it's not 6.
Ah, here we go. Yes, and actually, if I scroll down there, I see that as well. Yes. Okay. Indeed. Right. So now the testing, the driver navigator roles swap again. So I've now got some sort of failure here, and I could say, right. Well, what I could do there, and this is called one-undermanship, is I could write. It's almost like I could hard code a solution there, kick off a run, and I could say, oh yes, I've got your test to pass now. But so as a way of exploring loopholes in the test, I can then maybe make a different test, for example, which might be to add an additional number to the array there, and then I could update with my own error, click run, and I think if we scroll down, we should eventually see a new error from this new test that I've created on line 12. Seems to be being a bit slow there. I might try running it from the terminal. That's a yes. So at least from the terminal around there, the background process. I don't know if you can see on my screen. We've got the runtime error there from line 12. So do you want to? So now we're going to swap roles again. Do you want to see if you can try and make my new test pass?
Well, we have to stop hard coding things. I feel.
Well, and that's well that's again to certainly it's how charitable one feels. I think probably let's stop hard coding things here because it could go on all day, as you say.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point there. I think about the intuition at which point to stop hard coding, because one could be going.
Oh, we could go on back and forward. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But and I think for simple code that's probably not necessary. The yeah.
I think I can just use this inject method.
Well, that's the more advanced method. Yes, absolutely. This is and very 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 Ruby-ish. Yes, inject is I think the way to go.
I think this is the one because it should summarize all the integers.
Yes. I mean, I think there are a number of different ways to do this, but I think this is probably one of the most Rubyistic ones to do. Let's see if so if you kicked off run again there. I think the output thing has got a bit slow for me. I'm going to run it from the terminal again there. So yeah, that does seem to pass. So I think we've completed there the first section. Great work, good show. I think we've also shown how. I mean, so Cloud9 is not current. We're not saying you can necessarily do the entire MOOC on this. I think it's great for it certainly works for the simpler homeworks. I think with a little effort, it may work all the way through. And it's great if you've got a good internet connection. Sometimes it does. You can get like this. I don't know. Did maybe have I? Yeah, I still haven't seen. Oh, I'm scrolling down. Okay, I think one of the Ruby processes kind of got lost in the cloud, but it looks like it's running for me. You're not getting any errors on your side, are you, Thomas?
No.
Okay, great. Well, I think we've shown in principle there how one can use a Hangout with Cloud9 to do sort of ping-pong pairing back and forth on the first part of that Homework 0. Thanks so much for helping me out with that, Thomas.
No problems. Always welcome. Always a pleasure.
Great stuff. Okay, bye for now.